From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Overtime Podcast.
From the Gulf Coast studios in New Orleans, this is the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Fazende, riding shotgun as he does each and every podcast. It's Andre Johnson.
Junior.
Do not forget the Junior. Very important, remember the JR at the end of the name. Before we get into today's content, be sure to like, to share, to rate, to review. If you're watching us on YouTube, do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Get the bell notification for when we drop that fire content. And also, hello to the Gulf Coast Sports and Entertainment Network. Glad you have found us here. Stay here. Feels like every day we have a new show, a new announcement on this network. So if you found us, thank you. Tell your friends and stick with us because the content game, the production game, the sports programming that I know you guys love is only getting bigger and better on this network. All right, Andre, Wednesday. I like Wednesdays. It's a busy day for us, but you start to feel the football weekend getting closer and closer. So I like Wednesdays, and it's a big day in the work week because everyone is all in the first practice of their next opponent. Saints obviously return home to face the New York Football Giants. It's not just a Wednesday. It is also a big day. It's a new month. It is October 1st. New month, new start. And just seeing, you just kind of gauge social media. October is a favorite month for a lot of people. They love October, and I love October too. All four sports are playing at one time. It's a good month of the year. So Saints are, and all of us, are in the month of October, and we'll see if this month is better to them than the previous month. But first things first, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, you mentioned Wednesday being a good day, and it kind of feels like that's when it starts feeling like, oh, it's this week in the NFL. Because Monday, we're still talking about Sunday's game. Tuesday, everybody's off. But by Wednesday, we are locking in on the Saints' next opponent. And in this case, the next month for the New Orleans Saints, because we know September was not kind to this team. The Saints, one of the 3 winless teams in the NFL right now. But as we turn the new page, as we head into October, we look ahead to the 4 games they've got in the next 4 weeks. New York Giants this Sunday, Patriots after that. They go to Chicago after that, and then they play Tampa Bay in the Dome. So looking at those 4 games, looking at the state of the Saints right now, Sean, do we think that the month of October will be kinder to the Saints, or will October wind up being another scary month for the Saints?
We'll see. Well, let's just start with this. October does bring new opportunities. Anytime you start fresh with anything, there is a newness to that allows you to kind of, I don't want to say wipe the slate clean, but, start fresh. It does offer perhaps a more desirable path for the black and gold. Let me just say this. It looks a lot more promising. When I say promising, understand, I'm setting the bar really low, really, really low. To me, at this point, I define promising, or I define success as simply winning a ball game. Winning a ball game. And some would say, based off the recent celebration of almost victories, that maybe even that bar is too high. But I say, no, let's shoot for the stars. Let's start with 1 win. So, is 1 win attainable, Andre? Yes, 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 and yes. It's been horrible the first 4 weeks. Horrible in the sense that they've lost all 4 games, and we know the statistics about 0-4 and how those seasons normally go. But in October, the road ahead is a win attainable. Yes, yes, yes. 2 wins attainable? Let's not get crazy, but if we dare to dream, then I say yes again. The October slate of games is much less daunting. Everyone knows this. You read them off. I'll do it again, starting this Sunday with an incredible opportunity against the New York Giants, against a rookie quarterback who I think is a good player, who I think certainly brought a little enthusiasm to a franchise that always seems to be asleep for some reason. I don't know why, especially when you consider the city that they represent. But it does represent an incredible opportunity for the Saints. They are even favored in this game. Let me repeat that. The Saints are favored in a game. Remember, going into the season, there was only 1 game they were favored in. That was the New York Jets. Yeah. It was the other New York team. They're favored in this one, which means the money has shifted because it wasn't that way to start the week. I will go so far as to say they should win this game. They should win this game. Yes, I'm calling it now. Let's just put it out there. Let's just verbalize it. The Saints should beat the Giants. I have not said that once all season. I said they may win. It's a winnable opponent. If things go their way, I'm putting all that aside. The Saints should win this game against the New York Giants. Then they have the Patriots. Looked a little easy. Excuse me. Don't want to cough. I'm going to get it. Looked a little easier a few weeks ago, but not so much anymore. Still, they're catching them. I don't know if you saw, they switched the time from 3:25 to noon. They're catching them at home. A lot of times, as we just saw in Buffalo, an uncommon opponent when you have to go on the road is tough, especially when you consider they're going to be playing the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football this week, so they'll be coming off a pretty emotional game against Buffalo on the road. To go on the road to New Orleans is going to be a formidable task for them as well. Next up after that, a road trip against the Bears, a team with an offensive mastermind rookie head coach that every franchise wanted. He was the hottest name last year, and a very talented but very erratic quarterback in Caleb Williams. It is a much more beatable opponent, the Bears are, than any of the first 4 opponents that they faced. Then they close out the month with a home game against Tampa Bay. Tough team, better team, no doubt about it, but they are dealing with some injuries. But in the NFC South, you never know what could happen. And they always seem to play Tampa Bay tough, no matter their records. So just throwing that out there. But beyond the schedule, Andre, what other opportunities could October open up? Well, there's one other reason for opportunity, for optimism, whatever you want to call it, that could lead to success. And they call him Superman. They call him Superman. Old number 7, Taysom Hill, may be back. He started practicing today, which means within 3 weeks, we could see him back on the field. It's important after that PUP time limit goes up, you activate the practice period, or if they're not ready, you got to shift them over to IR. So clearly they think he can be ready within the 3-week window. This week, I don't know. Next week, I don't know. But 3 weeks is still in the month of October. So that was once again a reason for optimism. I look at this offense and I see a desperate need for an energy guy. Just an energy guy, a game breaker, someone who could take over. And if Taysom is who he's always been, as we mentioned last Monday on our podcast, I think he is that guy. And if he is that guy, then I believe more success should follow. I'll close with this, Andre. I'll let you get into it. Let's embrace October. Let's embrace the opportunity ahead. Dare I say, let's try to split the next 4 games if you're the Saints. Go 2-2, and by Halloween, trick or treat with a 2-6 record. Am I 2 glass half full, 2 glass half empty? What say you, Andre?
Will the Saints be better in October? I say yes, simply because you can't get much worse, Sean.
Okay.
When you're at rock bottom, I don't know how much lower you can go. You're 0-4. I mean, you can't go worse than 0-4. So yes, I do think the Saints will be better in October, but to say that, we have to acknowledge where they were in September. In September, the Saints are either at the bottom or near the bottom of the NFL in passing offense, explosive plays, points scored, points allowed, and most importantly, wins. So as I look ahead to October, I look ahead to one of 2 things, because I can say with confidence that one of these 2 things will happen this month. Number 1, the Saints finally win their first game. They get that 0 out of the win column.
He's saying it. He's calling it.
We can stop celebrating moral victory Mondays, and we can talk about victory Mondays. Because you look at those 4 games, you could argue with Tampa, but 3 of those are winnable. The Giants have a rookie quarterback who, to his credit, played pretty well in his debut, won his first game. Shout out to Jackson Dart for that. The Patriots have a second-year guy, Drake May, who's
2-2.
He's up and down, but he's looked really good last week against Carolina. They blew the Panthers out the water. The Bears, Caleb Williams, all the talent in the world. He makes some of the dumbest throws I've ever seen. He also makes some of the greatest throws I've ever seen. So, that the Bears team, you kind of never know what you're going to get from them, but that offense is dangerous, because you've got a mastermind in Ben Johnson and you have Caleb Williams at quarterback. So one of those 3 games, the Saints will either win and get a 1 in the win column this month, or the second thing, if the Saints do not win their first game this month, we will have a new face at quarterback.
I think you're right.
Because we're at, 0 for 10 for Spencer Rattler, 0 and 11 in the games he's played because he didn't start one game but lost it last year. The buzz is already I'm already starting to see it turn as I listen to the Rat Pack.
It is turning.
The Rat Pack's a little worried.
Yeah.
They're not as bullish as they were on Spencer Rattler at the beginning. They're starting to say, hey, just like we are, hey man, we saying all this stuff about you, but at the end of the day, it's 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, 0-4. Could be 0-5 on Sunday. I mean, at some point, you've got to get the job done. We can't keep saying, Spencer Rattler isn't the reason we lost. Well, he's not the reason you're winning either. So either the Saints will get their first win this month. Hopefully, Spencer Rattler is at the helm of that. And if that doesn't happen, we get to talk about the next guy, Tyler Shuck, and at least that could be a breath of fresh air. Neither of us are saying that Tyler Shuck will be better than Spencer Rattler.
I will not say it.
Right, exactly. I'm not saying Tyler Shuck's the future face of this franchise, just like I didn't say about Spencer Rattler. And I've been consistent with that from the jump. I've said since last year, before this year's draft, the Saints franchise quarterback is probably in the college classroom. I don't know if he's in that locker room right now, but so far from what we've seen, Spencer Rattler has not shown us that he's that guy. So if the Saints don't get that first win, we get to at least see what Tyler Shuck's got. We get to see if he can breathe some fresh air into this offense that, again, is at the bottom of the league in explosive plays, is at the bottom of the league in yards per play, is near the bottom of the league in passing offense, near the bottom of the league in points scored. So we'll see if a new guy can come in, breathe some life in this offense, and we'll see, hey, this guy didn't have it. Maybe that guy does. And that's enough reason for a team to be excited at this point in the season.
Yeah, I'm with you because I think both things can happen. Honestly, I think they can win their first game, and I think you could have a new face at quarterback during the month of October. The question is, and we could probably do a whole pod on this, but we're here now. Let's just go to it. Where is the line? What is the line that finally pushed them to say, you know what, we tried. If for no other reason, we're just not winning games, and he's sort of become just synonymous with this winless record. Do we turn to Tyler Shuck at that point? When is the line? Where is the line? To me, I would have already made the call. I would have made the call heading into this game. You're probably with me on that. But I knew that wasn't going to happen based off the way he was pretty good against Buffalo. So where is the line? If you lose this week against a fellow rookie quarterback, not a fellow rookie, but a rookie quarterback in the same sort of, you could consider Rattler somewhat of a rookie, but a guy making his second start, a guy that's already gotten his first win, in a franchise that's in just as bad a shape, frankly, with, I know Malik Neighbors was gone after the first quarter of that game. So dealing with enough injuries where it's very comparable to situations. And if you're not able to do that at home, even if you play okay and you throw for 190 and a touchdown but they lose 23-17 or whatever it is, I think you make the call. But what if they don't? Then when is the next opportunity to go? Is it Chicago, where you start a rookie on the road? Again, I would have no problem with that. But I think you're right. I think the Saints get their first win at some point in this stretch. I don't know who that quarterback's going to be when they get that first win. I believe when they get that first win, hopefully it will be this Sunday, and hopefully we can finally say Rattler got his first victory. But if that does not happen, when do they make the call? That's been hanging over this organization the entire training camp, the entire preseason, and the entire start of the regular season is, okay, when does he definitively take the job and it's his for the rest of the season, or when does he give it back? Because he has lived in this middle ground. And how long, if you're the Saints and you're Kellen Moore and you're the organization, do you say, I can't live in the middle ground anymore. I can't stay in the gray. I can't stay in this mid-path. I've got to go with a guy. Even if the initial performance or production dips, because maybe it'll come back up, and when he gets back to where he's supposed to be, it will be a higher ceiling when Tyler Shuck takes over. I think that's all those factors will be decided this month for the Saints.
Yeah, I think the line is this week against the New York Giants. Honestly, I mean, and this is, in my opinion, fair to talk about this because Spencer Rattler's had the power to shut us all up and kill this conversation. We wouldn't be sitting here talking about Tyler Shuck if the Saints were 2-2.
Yeah.
The Saints could very easily be 2-2 because you gave a game away against Arizona. You gave a game away against the Niners. 2 games where you had the ball last with an opportunity to win or tie those games. If we're 2-2 at this moment, we're not talking about Tyler Shuck. We're talking about Spencer Rattler going against the rookie, how the Saints are the favorites. They could have a winning record and maybe surprise some people in the NFC South. The reason we're having this conversation is because the starting quarterback for the Saints has had 11 opportunities to get a win. And people have made every excuse. It's been the injuries, the defense, the running game, the offensive line, health, yada, yada, yada. The common denominator in all of those situations has been the quarterback. And now we look across the line in New York against a rookie who in his first game, without his number 1 receiver, he dealt with injuries. That line is not great. That defense is not great. Nothing about the New York Giants is great. That's why they were winless and benched their starting quarterback after 3 weeks. He went against an undefeated team, one of the top defenses in the NFL.
Let's not forget that. I mean, the Chargers were balling right now. I mean, they were balling when they got to New York.
And he helped them win the game. He made timely plays. He came through when you needed him to come through, which is the thing we've been asking Spencer Rattler to do for 10 starts, and we haven't seen it yet. So if you, a guy going into your 12th game, your 11th start, can't take a team that you're supposed to beat, I agree with you. The Saints should beat the Giants.
They should
This
win
is
this
a
game.
better team than the New York Giants, and you have them at home. If you go into this game and you get outplayed by a rookie that the Saints could have picked at pick 9 in the draft in April, the Saints passed on Jackson Dart. If you get outplayed by that guy in your home, you fall to 0-11, which would be officially the 2nd worst start of any quarterback starting their career in the last 15 years. The worst winning streak or losing streak by any quarterback in Saints history since Archie Manning in 1980. At that point, to me, I say, you know what? You've had your chances. We're 0-5. You've had plenty of opportunities to get that win. You've had plenty of opportunities to shut this talk up. You've had plenty of opportunities to keep that 2nd-round rookie that I picked, Kellen Moore, on the bench. You haven't done it. We got to go with the new face. Is he going to be better than Spencer Rattler? Time will tell. But at this point, something's got to shake.
I mean, if he goes out and loses every start, he's equal.
Exactly.
I mean, he's equal.
I promise you, if Tyler Shuck goes 0-11, you know what I'll be saying? Who we drafting in April?
Who we drafting? That's it. That's it. Couple things, and we'll get to our next topic in a second. You know, it would be so like just Spencer Rattler to go out and throw for like 4 picks, and somehow they win like one of those weird 16-13 games, and all of a sudden you're like, well, he played horribly, but they won. So now what? Now what's the situation that we're in? And also, think of every game. You know, they won't have Ruiz this week. Okay. They didn't have Penning for the first 4 weeks. Was it one game they didn't have Fuaga? But other than that, they've had their top 3 receivers. They had all their top tight end. Top 2 running backs.
Top 10 rushing attack.
4 of the 5 offensive linemen for most of the time. One game was 3 of the 5, and for one half it was 5 of 5. So this is the best version of the Saints offense personnel-wise you're going to have that Rattler has ever had. And yet this is where we've kind of gotten to in terms of the overall production. So I think it has to be this week for Rattler. And I think if you're Kellen Moore, I think you kind of owe it to, you know, really yourself, because this is your program. You want to really set the tone, and you really owe it to just the organization. Look, we have not been unfair. We haven't been. Now we have to be fair to the other guy. Because that was the guy we drafted, even though he's a year older. He's a young guy. We got to give him this opportunity to see what he can do. And if he comes on, if he gets to that point, comes to that point, and he's able to come on and, you know, have some energy or whatever, then, you know, we can debate that when that time comes. But that would be interesting, because I do think those are all, as the season has gone on, and this is one of the reasons why you and I both agreed they should have just went with Shuck from the get-go, because if he's struggling right now, you could always turn to Rattler or whatever, or you just let him keep going, because now when you go to the Shuck at some point, like I said before, the clock starts over. But I do think it's crunch time right now. If you're Rattler, you got to understand that this could be the end of it. So you've got to go out and perform, shut all of us up, and win a game.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And, talking about quarterbacks in this game, we're not the only ones talking about quarterbacks because in New York, Jackson Dart, may have a bit of extra motivation for this game. Because I touched on it earlier, back in April, the NFL draft, not a lot of people knew where the Saints were going with pick 9. There was a lot of talk that they could potentially go quarterback. Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart may be at that number 9 spot. They decided to pass on Jackson Dart and obviously went with Kelvin Banks Jr., who has played well. He's the only Saint who's played 100% of the snaps this season. But, Sean, that's actually serving as a bit of extra motivation.
Yeah, well, I retweeted it. They asked if there was a chip on the shoulder about what happened in the draft, and he said there's always a chip on the shoulder. And he went on to explain that he definitely felt good about the visit, and he definitely felt like there was a chance the Saints could take him at 9. It was very interesting to hear Dart say that. It wasn't in a cocky way. It was more of just, it was 2 questions, and it was a total of like 38 seconds, which was it was a very quick answer. But it was pretty clear to me that he thought he was going to be a New Orleans Saints player at number 9 overall. And I went back and looked because I definitely remember talking about him after the Senior Bowl, because it was the main reason why we went there. I remember I was potting about it when I came back. I was like, Dart could be a guy that moves into first-round conversation. And obviously he did. There was definite buzz for Dart to the Saints. There was a picture or something of Kellen Moore and Dart talking a lot, I think at his pro day, if I'm not mistaken. And if I recall right, about a week or 2 before the draft, remember everybody went crazy when Mel Kiper did the Shedeur Sanders thing? Well, about a week later, McShay was the first guy that I saw had Jackson Dart going to the Saints at 9. But everything I was gathering, talking to people, listening to people, I never felt like 9 was the play for Jackson Dart. I do think Jackson Dart was very much on their radar. It was never going to be at 9. I always thought the move was going to be for them to get Dart. They were probably going to have to trade back into the back end of the first round to grab him, which is exactly what they would have had to do. I remember asking at some point after the first round or the second round if they tried to move back into the first round, and they kind of downplayed it. Who knows, they may call it to go back in and get it. But I always felt like that was the spot for Dart in the late 20s, that back end of the first round, or if somehow he slipped into the second round, moving up early on day 2. So it's interesting to hear him say that, because clearly that's been on the back of his mind, and clearly that was something leading up to the draft where he thought he was going to end up being here, the quarterback for New Orleans. So that's interesting. I watched the game. It was a good, kind of a safe game plan for Jackson Dart. I wouldn't call it a great game, but I thought the biggest thing was just how much his presence on the field, his confidence, kind of the aura that, this is the guy that they drafted and he's getting on the field, how much that uplifted everybody. Russell Wilson had really been struggling. It was either boom or bust with him, and obviously, the 4th down pass where he's throwing the ball away, obviously that could be the reason why, it's probably the biggest reason why he's no longer the Giants quarterback. But I thought it was interesting to see just how much energy was activated just by merely having Jackson Dart on the field. Oh, by the way, this is usually how it works with a veteran and a rookie, or any starter that may not be the franchise guy and a rookie you draft around week 4, around week 5. You see it with the Giants. You're seeing it with the Cleveland Browns. That's when they generally turn after there's no success. That's why we've been harping on the subjects for so long, because the Saints are in the exact same situation, but it's not going to be this week. But look, whatever motivates Jackson Dart is his own personal thing. If you're the Saints, though, you got to rattle him. You got to blitz him. You got to hit him. You got to do whatever you can do to get the win this weekend.
Absolutely, because if you're Jackson Dart, you see it with professionals. They have egos, and that's understandable. You've got Draymond Green can still name all 40-something players that was drafted ahead of him. I think it's Amon-Ra St. Brown who can name over a dozen receivers who were drafted ahead of him. Jackson Dart knows the coaches he met with, the teams he met with. You never know where you're going to get drafted typically, but you know who you had good conversations with, whose organizations you would want to be a part of. And the Saints passed on Jackson Dart. That's a fact. Whether it is a good decision, bad decision, time will tell. But right now, we know the Saints passed on Jackson Dart. You know, Jackson Dart still landed in New York. He got the starting job in 3 weeks, you know, and they've got an interesting offense. No Malik Neighbors, but just the way this locker room and that team seems to have embraced him as a leader and as their guy. The way Cam Scatterboo is just an energizer over there, you know, it's very interesting to see how that team is running right now. I'm curious to see.
Well, look at the head coach's reaction after the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was his son. Like, exactly. So, you know, this is a very interesting New York Giants team. But like you said, at the end of the day, Jackson Dart's a rookie. Jackson Dart has only seen one defense in the NFL. And while he played good enough to win and did win, it's not like he, you know, threw for 275, ran for another 60, scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So if you're the Saints.
They scored 21 points.
Exactly.
And one was a short field.
You're the Saints. What have they been doing to Rattler? You blitz him. You show him coverages he hasn't seen yet. You bring that inexperience out of him so that you can get that win. Cam Scatterboo, you stop the run and you make Jackson Dart have to beat you because, once again, he's a rookie making his second start. So I'm sure there is motivation for Jackson Dart. If he's the competitor that I would think he is being a first-round quarterback, there should be a chip on his shoulder when you play against somebody who passed over you. So we'll see if that turns into a win for the Giants or if the Saints can finally get win number 1. And for a while, we can maybe stop talking about Tyler Shuck because Spencer Rattler did what we've been asking him to do.
We'll see. We'll see. There's an opportunity there. That embrace from Dayball to Jackson Dart after the game, it was like, I might keep my job after all, sort of embrace. Like, that was so much more than the normal, I'm happy we won the game. That was I drafted him, I might keep my job now because he might turn out to be exactly who we thought he was going to be. But it's only one game. It's only one game, but they did beat a very, very good team in the Chargers. So buckle up. It's going to be an interesting one on Sunday. I want to see the crowd because the last home game was a lot of opposing fans. Not impressive.
And the Saints talked about it. It was not impressive.
All right, we got to go. Andre Johnson Jr., Sean Fazende. Next time. We'll catch you guys next time on Overtime.